Good morning, and we are live. A lot to talk about today in Iran. Let's dig right into it. Good morning, everybody. Let's dig right into it. Yes, we're at war with Iran. Let's just dig right into it. This is y'all ever heard of the Oak Ridge Boys? Y'all remember the Oak Ridge Boys from like the 80s and the 90s, country and western group, the Oak Ridge Boys? Well, this is Oak Ridge National Laboratories and Oak Ridge, Tennessee. It was formed as part of the Manhattan Project. I believe it was 1943 or 1944. I believe it's 43. It was formed. It was part of the Manhattan Project. We do a lot of supercomputing research there. Still do a lot of nuclear research there. It is still an ongoing big deal. This is the Lawrence Livermore Labs in California. Big deal. Very big deal as far as nuclear research. This came about after World War II when we were developing our hydrogen bombs. It was when this was actually founded. It was part of the University of California system. Tons of nuclear research still goes on here. This is a big freaking deal. This is in California. If you're in San Francisco, head due east across the bay. Keep heading due east. You'll run into Livermore, California. That's where this is located. Stick with me, folks. This is the Army National Research Laboratory. This is where Palantir, by the way, is integrating their AI systems into our Army. It's known as DevCom. It's in Maryland. Now I want you to imagine for just a second, we aren't who we are. We aren't the preeminent military on the face of the planet. We're just another nation. And somebody that does not like our politics, doesn't like the way we conduct ourselves. There are countries in this world that call us terrorists. There are countries in this world that call us terrorists. They call us criminals. One of those countries just blew up Oak Ridge, Livermore Labs, and DevCom. Just imagine that for a second. Let it sink in. Are we at war at that point? Even if that country idiotically proclaimed after doing that, well, we're not at war with you. Are we at war? Tanya, thanks for supporting the show. Join Indivisible, pile up, and went to my first sign. Went to my first sign waving. Thanks, Paul. Glad you're here, Tanya. I am glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Victus Videos, thank you for being here. New supporter, glad to have you. It's funny to me, gas prices haven't been down since Biden was in office. Trump says no new wars, we're at war. Go figure, just another Trump lie. Amen. 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 Folks, everybody else in the world gets it. Our media is worthless. Our media is absolutely worthless. They are. What happened in Iran is why they sane wash Trump. It is why they continue to sane wash Trump to this day. They want this. I have not rewarded them. I refuse to sit and watch the national news over this. I absolutely refuse. I'm not going to reward them. This is what they wanted. This is what they wanted. That is why they sane washed Trump. And they have been useless. And I'm going to point out to you today several instances where they have been completely and utterly useless in other aspects. Why you can just, they're just tabloids. That's all they are. They're not even news organizations. They're just fucking tabloids. And we're going to get into that as we progress through. You'll see it with your own eyes in shit that they never told you about. And we're going to talk about things you've never even heard of in today's show. Randy Oliver, just waiting until Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. You know, I mean, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today is the fallout from this. And right now, our idiotic president is saying things like this. We're not at war. The entire world understands that we are. You know who knows we're at war? Iran. Iran knows they're at war with us. They do. No matter what Trump says, the U.S. has gone to war and there will be profound and lasting consequences from The Guardian today. Everybody in the global press, where they actually still have press, not instead of the tabloid shit that we have here in the United States, is echoing that sentiment. Because Washington is trying to tell the world two things. They were successful and spectacular bombing, highly successful, and that we're not at war. We're not at war. No, this was not a declaration of war. Bullshit. Bullshit. You just declared war on Iran. You did. And again, no matter what they say, go back to if somebody destroyed Oak Ridge, Livermore, and MIT or DevCom or anything. If any other nation did that, would we be at war? Of course we would be. Of course we would be. This is the other thing that's coming out. Y'all remember, I'm going to swap things up for just a second. Y'all remember General Hossein Salami? We talked about, and he was killed in the first Israeli strikes. His job with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, his mission number one was to take their nuclear facilities and create redundancy, to take the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and create redundancies in their leadership, including for himself. Net result was the night, not even the next day, by nightfall, the day Israel killed General Salami, he was replaced in the IRGC. We're about to find out how well those redundancies were put into place, because Iran has said, yeah, you blew up our buildings, but we moved our enriched uranium and our people. You blew up buildings. That's what you did. And so far, nobody's really detecting any radiation from the sites. So if you use bunker busting bombs and blew up a nuclear research facility with 400 kilograms of enriched uranium in it, there would be, you would have a Chernobyl 2.0 kind of situation on your hands. You would have a nuclear disaster on your hands, and it's just not the case. So, yeah, Iran might be telling the truth there that they actually moved their enriched uranium. And by the way, it takes about 50 kilograms of enriched uranium to make a weapon, and they've got 400 that we know of. So, yeah, there's that. I doubt the effectiveness of what we did for two reasons. One, this administration is crowing how successful this was. Man, they destroyed their and man, it does not feel like a normal strike. Normally, when a strike like this happens, they're pretty professional. We've degraded their capabilities. We've set them back X number of years. Oh no, this is not what we're getting out of this administration. It is, oh, we were badass, man. We were successful. That's all they keep saying is we were successful. We were successful. We will see. But I know what they did diplomatically, and we're going to break it down throughout the region. What this actually did. This blew up all of our regional diplomacy. All of it. In one fell swoop. Montana Will says, thank you for being the voice of reason in these chaotic days. Trump is determined to destroy the planet. He's a moron. He is a moron. E.T., now that the Mad King has raised oil prices, he could get back to drill, baby, drill for the oil producers that were going bankrupt. Yeah, I was going to pull that up live, but y'all brought it up. It's y'all's show as much as mine. We're a community here. I will go ahead and pull up what is oil trading at. It's Saturday, so the markets aren't open. I mean, Sunday, pardon me. It's Sunday. I know what day it is, damn it. It's Sunday, and the markets aren't open. So we're going to have to look at futures and what we're looking at in futures. One second. We're going to pull up. There you go. Oil to open higher as U.S. strikes on Iran boost supply risk premium. This article is saying that most are predicting a 20% increase in oil prices, which it is currently trading at. One second. We'll use West Texas Intermediate because I like to use it rather than Brent, but we'll use West Texas Intermediate prices today. $74 a barrel right now. 20%. You can do the math. 20% increase over $74 a barrel. You're going to add about $15 a barrel to that. So you're looking at about $90 a barrel. With some outliers that you always get this when something like this. I just want to be clear: when you ignore the hyperbolic people, some people are saying, "Oh, it'll be $120 a barrel." Those people are never right. The ones on the fringes are never right. So yeah, it is reasonable to expect. Oil has already gone from down, brushing into the 50s up to 75. Now they're talking about another 20% increase. You're talking about $90 a barrel in the middle of a flagging economy, in the middle of an economy that is choking. We're going to have energy prices skyrocket. The stupidity of what Trump just did, I just, from every direction, financially, diplomatically, everywhere, the stupidity is just off the charts of how dumb this was. And let's keep in mind why they did it. This wasn't about a nuclear weapon, folks. Iran has biological and chemical weapons. They do. They use them in the war versus Iraq. They have them. We know they have them. They didn't use them on Israel. So why can you assume they used a nuclear? They would, if they were to get a nuclear weapon, which I'll be honest with you, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't. And for a different reason we'll talk about here in a minute. But I don't. But to claim that we had to bomb them now because they might develop a nuclear weapon in the future operates on the premise that they would use that weapon. I mean, that is the premise. We attack them because they will use that weapon. No, that's not it. Not at all. They have biological and chemical weapons. They have not used those against Israel at all. What makes the world think that they would use a nuclear weapon? It is the dumbest offensive weapon there is, because if they used a nuclear weapon on Israel, we would turn Iran to glass immediately. Immediately, we would turn Iran to glass and no one would stop us. No one would fault us. So, no, this whole notion, let's just get that off of the table, that this was because Iran was going to develop a nuclear weapon, had the potential to develop a nuclear weapon in the future. Nika T, not informing Democratic leaders about the strike beforehand. It's stupid to play partisan politics at a time like this. Yes, it is. Absolutely. That is true, folks. Thanks for bringing it up. I was going to talk about that later, but we'll talk about that right now. Yeah, the Democratic leadership was not briefed. The Republican leadership in Congress was. These are the kind of stupid fucking games they are playing with our national security. Folks, even if they had briefed the Democrats, they wouldn't have said a thing. Not a word. They would have held true to their oaths. They would have not said a word to anyone. They've done it in the past. Because every time a Republican gets in office, they do stupid shit like this. And folks, this is stupid on an exponential scale. We're going to talk about some of the relationships, some of the things that were going on, and how this strike has affected those relationships going forward. This is disastrous. Just disastrous. Lena Nichols says, does North Korea want to join the party, you think? No, I think North Korea... You'll hear from them in a few weeks because they'll want attention again, because everybody else is getting too much attention and they want the world to remember they're there. But no, they don't want any part of this. This is, I love you people so much. I say this all the time, but you prove it all the time. This is not me kissing your ass. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't me, this. We were going to talk about this. Shipping insurance skyrockets more than likely. Yes. And we're going to talk about why. Again, not the direction I had planned for the show, but let's go ahead and go that direction. Let's go to the map. This is your show as much as mine. This is Djibouti. What's significant about Djibouti, other than is that the El Mandeb Straits, between the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea at the choke point there, this is where China's only overseas base is. Right now, if you want to sail through the Suez Canal to Europe from Asia, you sail right by China's only overseas base. This is Port Sudan. See Arbat here? Right in this region, the Russians have just started construction on their base that's going to overlook the Red Sea. Our geopolitical adversaries are increasing their presence overlooking the world economy. And militarily, they're doing that. They are literally, you will sail past the guns of a Russian and a Chinese base with your transport ships if you want to ship from Asia to Europe without going around the Horn of Africa. And we saw economically what happens there. So yeah, just so you know, keep that. I like to tell you things like that so that you can understand there is a big picture in this conversation that we're about to have. I want to frame the conversation in that both Russia and China, especially China, have been flexing their diplomatic muscle as of late. They have been mending relations. They have been improving their diplomatic relations. They have been doing the opposite of what we have been doing, which is destroying our relationships with our allies. So yeah, let's get into it. And thanks for bringing it up. The fact that you folks are always on top of these things, it is incredible. You know what? Let me bring the map back up. There's one other thing I want to, 1 second. Jordan, Republicans have to be held accountable for this illegal war. They do. They do. And again, your comment, I was going to go there later on in the show, but let me go to that before I bring the map up. There is only one thing to do. I mean, are you starting to, this is a real legitimate question to you, the audience. Are you starting to understand that the Democrats were the moderating, decent force within our government that kept us on an even keel? That in every negotiation, people would say, well, Democrats, why didn't you get more for this? You had power, you did this. Why didn't you get more here? You control Congress, this and that. Because the negotiations were always with the Republicans. We're going to blow up Medicare. We're going to blow up Social Security. We're going to blow up Medicaid. We're going to blow up our world diplomacy. And the Democrats were negotiating, keeping all that genie shit in the bottle. I'm hoping now you can see the Democratic Party contribution to what our government was. They were the weight in the keel that kept the ship upright. And if you want to do anything about any of this, if you want to return to anything that you recognized our government to be as we grew up, and want your children and grandchildren to have anything that even remotely resembles the government we once had, you must return Democrats to power. You must. There can't be any more of the, there are still, and Blue Sky is the worst. They are the worst because of the way the site is built. Every asshole gets a say on Blue Sky. It's just the way it works. There's not like weighted influence in the following. It's not. Folks, I am telling you, we cannot have the division we once had. The people that cost us the election and put Trump back in power, they have to sit the fuck down. Just show up, vote Democrat, and sit the fuck down. Anyways, that's my take on that part that you brought up about the political aspect of it. Matthew T., the stupid fuck just did a high crime against the U.S. and is now an international war criminal. If the world made sense, he would be removed and extradited to The Hague. If you want Trump impeached, because yes, what he did was illegal. The president has the power to act in an emergency without congressional approval. He does. If someone were to blow up Oak Ridge, the president has the ability to act immediately. Then they go to Congress and get authorization from Congress. That is not this. This does not even closely resemble that at all. Tulsi Gabbard just sat before Congress and testified before Congress that Iran was not working on a nuclear weapon, that they were enriching, but they were not working on a nuclear weapon at the time. She did follow that up with a caveat that said, if they wanted to, in 3 months to 3 years, we're not exactly sure. They could do something. But there was no imminent threat according to our own intelligence. There's no facility in Iran. Everything they blew up were enrichment facilities. There was no weapons facility that they blew up. Pay attention to that if you do happen to listen to the news. So, yeah, this was a crime. This was a crime. The President of the United States does not have the authority to do what he just did. He doesn't. But Republicans don't apply the law or the Constitution to other Republicans. The draft is illegal. A draft that would take an act of Congress. That's not no. There's no draft coming. Donald Trump is going to try to pretend we're not at war, and I'm going to explain what this is going to look like here in a second. Okay, you know what? You asked the question. It's your show as much as mine. I'll go over. I will go over that now. What is this going to look like militarily for us? If you're Iran, one second, I need a drink. If you're Iran, you know what? Don't even call it Iran. Say, I'm the supreme leader of Palestine. I'm the supreme leader of Palestine. And this just happened to me. Do I get into a war with the United States? Fuck no. No, I don't. No. They cannot no. We'll just destroy their now. Can the United States invade me? No, hell no. You think Afghanistan was bad? Folks, we were in Afghanistan for forever. And we did not change that country. An invasion of Iran would be Afghanistan times 10. Because I can't stress to you how badly we screwed up here. And this is why. It wasn't about a nuclear weapon per se. It wasn't about the threat of a nuclear weapon. It was about Pakistan. The Pakistan example, anyways. Not Pakistan proper, but we're going to talk about Pakistan a little bit. The Pakistan example. Do you know when it became impossible for us to engage in regime change with Pakistan? When they became a nuclear power. Yeah, John Bolton and these neocon freaks have been dreaming, I mean, literally masturbating over the idea of regime change in Iran. Our diplomatic efforts have been centered around in Iran destabilizing this regime. That's what our intelligence organizations are doing. They support efforts on the ground for reform, but that reform involves kicking out the religious zealots and turning Iran into a more modern country. Dying Breed Garage. Hi, Texas Paul. Thank you for what you're doing. You give us the straight facts in a world of misinformation on all sides. It was great emailing with you this past week. Get the hot rod soon. I appreciate you, my guy. I appreciate you. We were talking cars. I do answer my emails, and I want to apologize. I haven't answered emails in a few days. I have been reading them. I do read them. I do. But I haven't been answering emails. I'll get back on that here in the next few days, over the next week. And I do apologize for that. Mr. Knudsen in the house, longtime supporter, foundational member of the show. Long live the supreme leader, Palestine. Thank you. But let's get back to the Palestine example. If I'm faced with this situation, do I go to war with the U.S.? No. Openly? No. This was their response, by the way. And tell me if you've heard this. And again, one of the examples of our corporate media. Before I pull this up, cancel. Okay. Before I pull this up, what do you think Iran's response has been? They have responded. Corporate media hasn't shown it What do you think? What do you think their response has been? Jordan, Trump got rid of the hacking division of the Pentagon. Iran will attack in the unconventional ways. That is one. You are absolutely right. That is one avenue. We will see cyber attacks here in the United States. We will, as a result of this. What do you think Iran's official response has been? What do you think they said? This is what they said. And when I say they said that, I mean their secretary, Marco Rubio's counterpoint, their version of their Secretary of State, actually went on television and said this: every American is a target. Every soldier and every civilian is now a target. We are at war. That was their response. Corporate media has been so busy to, woo, Trump blew up some buildings, man. Woo, Trump is badass, that they didn't bother to tell you that this is what Iran has said. So yeah, going back to the, if this is Palestine, what do I do? Let me put it to you this way. If I was making the choices, yeah, I'd fill your car up now. I would. And you don't even have to block the Strait of Hormuz. You don't even have to attack the massive oil terminals that are right across the Gulf from you in Iran. Literally, if you walk to the beach in Iran, it's just right over there where the world's, some of the world's largest oil terminals are. You don't even have to touch those, because that'll piss your neighbors off. All you have to do is turn yours off, and oil prices spike. See, if I'm the supreme leader of Palestine, I know the United States, because of their idiotic president and his tariffs and blowing up his relationships with his allies and getting into pissing contests, I just turn off my oil pumps and your economy crashes, because that $90 a barrel oil that everybody's bracing for actually does become $120 a barrel oil at that point. And they don't even have to do it long term. They could do it for 3 months and our economy would be crippled. That would be step one. Step two, yeah, you won't see me at a coffee shop anywhere on Wall Street anytime soon. You just wouldn't. I would use all of my proxies. I would make a point of humiliating this president. I would. I would make a point of just humiliating this president. No, we can't stand toe to toe. No, we can't have a fight. No, you can't invade me. You could try, but it would be your end. You would literally bankrupt yourself. I'm not even saying they're deployed yet. But if I were a soldier at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, I would make damn sure I didn't get a new Arab girlfriend all of a sudden. I can't specifically say the kind of things I'm talking about, because YouTube will immediately bring down this live. But you can imagine what I'm talking about. You can use your imagination. That is how Iran is going to respond to this. No, they're not going to go into a straight up kicking ass contest with this. They're not. But they can do this. This is the Ever Given. Y'all will remember this from the news. The Evergreen Ever Given, Chinese shipping container ship, massive container ship, one of the biggest in the world, going through the Suez Canal, blocked it. Absolutely blocked it. They got caught in a sandstorm with strong crosswinds. The pilot made an error or two, And then there's what's called the stern effect. The way the props work on these massive ships, the amount of suction they create when a boat this size, and you can see how narrow. This is it, folks. This is all the Suez Canal is. This little waterway right here. That's it. That is the linchpin of our world economy. One of the linchpins of our world economy. This little thing here. But yeah, the Evergreen, they made some piloting errors when they were caught in a sandstorm with super high winds. There's a lot of sail on the side of these boats. They're very susceptible to high winds. This is from the New York Times, another picture from the New York Times. They ended up going too close to the shore. There's what's called the stern effect, which basically when you're in a narrow, constricted waterway like this with a boat that big, with props that big, it will actually suction the stern towards the shore. And yes, that is a Cliff's Notes version of it. Please, my maritime friends, don't email me with it. I know what the stern effect is. Technically, not important at this point. Just understand it will suck the stern over to. So they made a mistake, and they wedged that boat into the Suez Canal. You can literally block it with a single boat. Yeah, if I'm the supreme leader of Pakistan, I'm sinking a boat in the Suez Canal. I may not get into a kicking ass contest with the Gerald R. Ford, but I can take on a container ship. No more Houthis attacking boats out in the Gulf of Aden. No. I find my way across Saudi Arabia. I get to the Suez Canal, maybe from Sudan, maybe from Sudan, the Sudan side, maybe from the Egyptian side. And I sink me a boat in the Suez Canal and cripple the world's economy. That's what I would do. Pamela K, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm telling you, I'm just saying that because that's how vulnerable we are. And this was such a stupid, needless thing to do that actually causes regional, massive diplomatic regional problems. We're going to talk about some of those now. Gangsta Kitty told me that Russian oil will be in demand. No shit. This Russia, that's one of the things we're going to talk about, folks. You nailed it on the head. When we talk winners and losers in this, Russia's a winner. We now suddenly are going to need that Russian oil. We are. This is going to cause problems in OPEC. This is going to cause, there will be global economic ramifications because of this. There will be. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here, for supporting the show. New supporter there. Mr. Knutson back again. Expert radiological dispersal device, RDD in Wall Street or other American cities. So sad. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be that, man. It doesn't even have to be some spectacular. I mean, look, they attacked the World Trains. People that these radical groups have attacked the World Trade Center not once but twice. It's possible to pull these attacks off, and they don't even have to be that spectacular. I mean, just a conventional small is enough to terrorize people. It is. You know who I'm afraid for? Jewish community centers, schools, those kinds of things. They are very, very soft targets. And no, you don't need some technological terror to do something like that, because this is America, where you can buy a dump truck load of fucking ammonium nitrate and nobody checks. Alto Eager, paying my late fee and tipping the cussing jar. And if you want to see what ammonium nitrate can do, let me show you. Let me show you what ammonium nitrate and diesel can do. Well, I'm telling you, folks, this doesn't have to be complex to be carried out. This is what ammonium nitrate can do. Ammonium nitrate and diesel in the back of a freaking van. In a van. This is how vulnerable we are. That is the Oklahoma City Federal Building. Fertilizer and diesel. Took out a daycare center, people. A daycare center. And that was a white nationalist that did that. Now imagine what a technically proficient member of the IRGC can do. That was a fucking white nationalist yahoo with no real training was able to do that with fertilizer and diesel fuel. Folks, this was stupid. This was stupid. And no, Iran's not going to fight fair. They're not. I appreciate you, Alto Eager. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you. Newest Bill, foundational member of the show, always here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, propane. I mean, these things don't have to be technologically. And yes, James B. Babies did die there. They literally destroyed a daycare center in that building. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about how screwed up things got over this. Trump just in this is Field Marshal Asim Munir, Pakistan. Where I told you we talk about Pakistan a little bit. Let's start there. One second. All right. Had a little bit of a freeze up there with the streaming software. That was not me. That was not my internet. That was the streaming software. Pakistani Army Chief, he Field Marshal Asim Munir. Again, you want to know how useless our media is? The head of the Pakistani military, which is who runs Pakistan, by the way, just came to meet with Donald Trump. Had an Oval Office meeting. Did you hear anything about that? Did you hear anything about that at all? He was literally just here. Linda Orndorff, thank you. Good morning. All I have missed everyone. I got sick and was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. Glad to be alive and able to. Man, I'm glad you're here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I won't pry into your personal business, but I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay, Linda. Glad to see you back. But yeah, Field Marshal Asim Munir, and let me explain Pakistan for a second. Pakistan is kind of a weird government. They have a parliament, they do, and what Pakistan has been doing lately. Let me see if I've got. Yeah, here you go. This is Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. He is technically the head of Pakistan's government. You see him here with Recep Erdogan. They have been on a diplomatic push throughout the region to say, hey, we're more normal now. We're a more normal government. Hey, let's do some trade. Let's everybody just be normal. We're not going to be crazy Pakistan anymore. We're not going to be super ideological Pakistan anymore. Look at me. I'm the prime minister. Khan is gone. The former prime minister, he's gone. I am Shehbaz Sharif. Look at me. I wear a suit, a Western style suit. Everything's normal now. And then Donald Trump idiotically invites the head of Pakistan's military to an Oval Office meeting, a head of state meeting, and doesn't invite the prime minister of Pakistan. The Indians who have an adversarial relationship with Pakistan have been all over the media. And this is why I tell you, our media is useless. Pauline, thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate you. It has been all over the media, just humiliating, absolutely humiliating Pakistan over this. Because, like I said, Pakistan has been in this huge diplomatic push of, hey, we're going to be more normal. We're going to get along with everybody. We're going to stop this nonsense fight that we had with India. We're going to stop, that was dumb. We brokered a peace there. We're brokering a peace with Iran. There was the border skirmishes with Iran. The defense minister of India went on Indian national television. By the way, India is the largest democracy in the world, people. Went on Indian television, which gets play in other regions. It's not like here. I would bet that you didn't even know that India and China had been in a shooting war. They had been in engaging in cross-border attacks between India and China. I mean, a hot conflict in 20 and 21. Our media didn't even cover it. Largest democracy in the world, battling our largest geopolitical adversary, never even made the news here. But the defense minister of India, Rajnath Singh, has been. Let me give you an image. This is Rajnath Singh. One second. This is Rajnath Singh. Has been all over the news, all over the media, humiliating Pakistan, just humiliating them because Donald Trump invited the head of Pakistan's military as a state visit. Not a low-level visit, like Pete Hegseth or whatever. No, it was in the Oval fucking Office and did not invite the prime minister. Just ending Pakistan's whole push. We're going to be more normal now. We're going to be, this is exactly what Netanyahu wants. This is exactly what he wants. Folks, there is no purpose on this earth in Israel for Benjamin Netanyahu. His economies suck. He is a terrible leader. The only thing he offers anyone in Israel is, there's boogeymen out there and I'll fight them. Well, too much peace was breaking out. I kept telling them, and I'm trying to give you examples of that peace, of what's been happening. I have sent this before, but I'm assuming you meant to say I've said this before, but Trump wants to use Iran to impose martial law in America. Yeah, Trump is underwater in literally every aspect. Foreign policy, the economy, everything. He went underwater in his numbers on immigration. That is why this attack happened. Netanyahu is looking at, and again, how useless our media is. Iran and Pakistan were shooting at each other. They were having, again, they were crossing each other's borders. They were shooting in southern Pakistan. They were shooting at each other. They were mending fences. They were mending fences. But yeah, who benefits from this? Well, this is one aspect of it. India was completely freaked out by the fact that Trump is reaching out to Asim Munir, Field Marshal Asim Munir. They were completely 100% freaked out by this. So Modi is 100% pleased that this absolutely humiliates and destabilizes Pakistan. Pakistan, which was on the route to a more conventional parliamentary government, people were not treating Munir as the chief of state. Then here comes Donald Trump and gives him a state visit. Just like in Iran, Iran had a movement, a reform movement. That is over, folks. That is over. That is over. I want you to imagine here who, if, and I want to use that example of Oak Ridge and Livermore Labs. If someone blew those up, you would get some people here in the United States that are against nuclear proliferation that would say, oh, that's good. Those are gone. We don't want those. And they would instantly be pariahs. They would be isolated out of everybody's community. Anything that they ever said, any credibility that they ever had, their entire movement is destroyed. Folks, that is exactly what just happened in Iran. All of the women that were so brutally abused and oppressed, that were standing up, that were standing up, that were trying to instigate change within Iran, that's over. Everything they did, everything they suffered is gone. It's gone. This was the stupidest possible thing they could have done. Just when I saw it, I was literally speechless. Shellbell says, how much do you want to bet Bebe and Putin had a call to use Trump to get us in a war? Putin gets what he wanted. Yeah. You know what? You know who nailed it? George Conway nailed it. Again, one of those former Republicans that have turned Democrat that seem to grasp things pretty damn clearly. This is what George Conway said. Much as I would not dare to predict the consequences of this war, I will. I do think we can summarize it thusly so far. A smart and evil man, meaning Netanyahu, manipulated a stupid and evil man, Trump, into war against a fanatical and evil regime, the Iranians. I think he nails it there. I think he 100% nails it there. Because, folks, there really are serious losers in this. And again, I can't stress to you enough, and I just want to wrap Pakistan up. Pakistan's attempts at a normalization just died. They just died. They did. Because their Islamic population that are what we would call like conservative Christians or Christian nationalists, their Islamic version of that, oh no. The moment these attacks happened, the moment Israel attacked, they were this close to Iran. There was no daylight in between them. In fact, they had made some threats towards Israel. So yeah, not only did we end any chance for any kind of normal progression of change in Iran from, within, we ended it in Pakistan too. Pakistan is now extremely concerned about their own nuclear programs and their own nuclear sites. If you'll attack Iran, why won't you attack us? You've threatened to attack us in the past. When Netanyahu needs another boogeyman, why not Pakistan? There were winners in this situation. There were. First being Modi, Narendra Modi. He loves a destabilized Pakistan. He does. He really does. The other winner is Xi. China has been quietly strengthening diplomatic ties with India, with Turkey. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute, but they have been on a diplomatic push to mend fences. Like I said, there was a cross-border fight between India and China. They have mended those fences since. They are economically talking about, instead of being the intense competitors that they've always been for, India wants to be the factory to the world. China wants to be the factory to the world. They're competing on the same ground. They have made serious strides towards fixing that relationship, that antagonistic relationship. This attack puts that on steroids. It serves Modi's interest in Pakistan, and it makes Xi look like a stabilizing, normal government in comparison. If you've got to say, who's the real big winner here in all of this, it's going to be Xi and China, because they've been working on. You remember the attempted genocide of the Uyghurs, pardon me, in China? That was a huge problem, a diplomatic blow up between Turkey and China. Uyghurs have been part of the Turkish community forever. They have migrated to Turkey, going as far back as the 1800s. They've been migrating to Turkey. Back when it was the Ottoman Empire, Uyghurs were migrating to Turkey. There's a long history there. So when China so brutally oppressed and attacked the Uyghurs, it caused serious diplomatic problems between Turkey and China. And again, our press doesn't cover anything like this. It's tabloid shit all the time. Dude, let me show you Kim Kardashian's ass. That's our news media. They don't actually tell us what's going on in the world. Well, over the last several years, last 2 years specifically, China and Turkey have been mending fences, because Turkey is really wants to get out from underneath our thumb. Erdogan wants to be the regional player in the Middle East. He's built the strongest military. He has built the strongest military. He has moderated his conflicts with, Eastern and Southern European nations like Greece. They've moved away from buying our weapons, and they're starting to look in other directions for weapons. For instance, the last tanks they bought, they didn't sign contracts for the new Abrams X. No, they bought Black Panthers from North Korea, which is arguably the best tank on the planet right now. But this attack, Turkey's livid about it. They're furious about this. The last thing Turkey wants is destabilization in the region. They have been methodically moving forward. You saw we talked about Syria and the advances that they had made in Syria. Amy Manuel, thanks for always being here, Amy. I hate being this person, but Iran is not Iran. Yeah, and I know, but I give me credit for calling it Pakistan, okay? Louis Kilgo, at this rate, Netanyahu will end up making the entire region look like Gaza, including Israel itself. Yeah, that's the thing, folks. This is not good for Israel. It's not. It's good for Netanyahu and his political problems, but it's not good long-term for Israel because of Turkey. Mr. Knudsen, imagine India and China as a superpower. We need good relations to 2.5 billion people. Yeah, this is insane. This drives Israel, India and China together. They're already working towards improving those relationships. Us engaging in this kind of stupid, haphazard military exercise in their region does not help. It doesn't help. It hurts us with both India and China. Turkey, especially. Turkey really showed and exercised its authority in Syria. Mohammed al-Shara, give me, pardon me, Ahmed al-Shara, I said Mohammed, Ahmed al-Shara, I explained to you the precarious position he's in. The new leader of Syria. And this is, I want to kind of explain why this is a problem with Turkey, why this has caused us a problem with Turkey. And this is right here. Ahmed al-Shara is the biggest loser from these attacks. Of every nation out there, Syria loses most. Ahmed al-Shara took over Syria with a coalition. It was the Kurds. It was Turkish-backed militias. And it was extremists. Remember, he came up through Al-Qaeda. It was that coalition that he was able to pull together that allowed him to take over Syria. And they kicked the Russians out, folks. They kicked the Russians out. And I told you, his moves since then, it seems as though he has learned from his extremist days that there really is no fruit on that tree, that road leads to nowhere. So his actions since in Syria has been coalition building. No retributions, no attacks on former Syrian military officers or people that worked in the government, no reprisals. They didn't take the bait. Israel bombed Syria after al-Shara took power. He was able to maintain his coalition at that point. But this attack in Iran, yeah, that ends all of that. That ends all of that. Because the Kurds are remarkably pro-Israel. Israel supported them during the Iran-Iraq war consistently. Itamar Ben-Gvir, one of the most radical people in Israel, in the Israeli government, he is right of Netanyahu. He constantly threatens Netanyahu with pulling the extremists out of Netanyahu's coalition, which keeps dragging Netanyahu even farther right. We talked about this before. Itamar Ben-Gvir is Kurdish. It's almost like all of the other bad leaders are saying how they can manipulate the mad king to get what they want while giving him what he wants. Yeah, it is. He is a moron. He is an idiot. This attack is the last thing it doesn't serve Donald Trump, and he's too stupid to know that. Colleen Sarah, this is now a real clusterfuck, folks. Take care and find strength to keep fighting. Now, those Islamic extremist portions that were in more southern and southwestern Syria, those are the ones fighting around Aleppo. Those were the ones fighting around Damascus. They were already seething because Israel bombed Syria after the attacks. We talked about that before. It was bullshit. It was just an attempt by, I explained this before. We talked about it in a previous show. Israel claimed to be supporting an ethnic group there, but there was no ethnic cleansing going on. There was nothing to defend. It was simply Netanyahu trying to bait Syria into conflict, to destabilize what Ahmed al-Shara has been able to hold together, which has been really shocking. The Russians were blown away by this. I mean, I want you to imagine that. You have competing interests all working together under Ahmed al-Shara. Again, the Kurds in the north, they want autonomy. They want some autonomous rule. They want their own homeland. They have ties to Israel. You have the extreme Islamic, groups like Hamas, and you've got former Al Qaeda forming all kinds of different groups springing up. They're in the south and the west. And then in the north, you have these Turkish allied militant groups that are there for Erdogan to use as a buffer to make sure nothing spills over into Turkey. He can create his military in peace. He can advance his own diplomatic strength in peace. There is that buffer there. And remember, Turkey is an Islamic nation. So when he exerts his influence, he will be able to bring in those radical groups in the southwestern portion of Syria. This attack, al-Shara will no longer be able to go to the groups in the south and west of the country and say, be calm, do nothing. Do nothing. Yes, Israel's attacking our fellow Arab and Islamic brothers, but do nothing. Yes, Iran funds your organizations. Yes, Iran sends you weapons, but do nothing. He can't do that anymore. Syria will split in two if he attempts to do that. They're forcing this man who has disavowed his radicalism to become more radical and become exactly what we fear. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in Syria. The net result will be they will drive the Kurds out of the northeast. Or they will. They will drive them out of, because those are where the oil fields are, folks. Rather than peace, they will drive the Kurds across the border into Iraq. Turkey will extend its influence even farther south into Syria. And that country will be lucky that it does not fall into civil war. Again, this is what Netanyahu wanted. If there isn't chaos, there is no need for Netanyahu. Amy Poe, I keep telling my friends and family in the armed forces, I understand that you are taught country before self. I just hope you will understand self before stupidity. Grump equals stupidity. Yeah, Trump does equal stupidity. Vincent Day, thanks for being here, my friend. So this attack destabilizes Syria. It increases Erdogan's influence, who is distancing himself from us. He is playing nice with Russia. He is playing nice with China. He has gotten to the point where he no longer needs us. Most of the weapons that we have sold him are old and are being replaced. And it is his goal, it is his dream that he has said openly he wishes to reestablish the Ottoman Empire, which means southeastern Europe, all the way down through to Saudi Arabia. Now, the last one is Egypt. Folks, Egypt is a strong military dictatorship. It is. Sisi in Egypt is he is an iron-fisted ruler, but he's ruling over a group of people that are the Islamic influence in Egypt is extreme. Remember, that is where Osama bin Laden was radicalized by a cleric from Egypt. There is intense extremism in Egypt. This attack, this open attack that no one can justify, yeah, that's going to radicalize Egypt. That is going to move Egypt away from us. Sudan, which borders the Red Sea, there's the Arab Islamic militants, again, that moves that country farther away from us. Saudi Arabia and Iran, Saudi Arabia is now in a pickle. They had been improving their relationships with Iran. They had reestablished diplomatic ties. They have to condemn this, which weakens our stance with Saudi Arabia and OPEC. Iraq is deeply influenced by Iran now. This is going to get American soldiers killed, is what this is going to do. Is it going to lead to a hot war? No, it's not. They've destabilized Pakistan. They've handed India and China gifts. She is working with Turkey. She is working with Pakistan. She is working with India. All of these regional players that used to have conflicts are all now sitting at Xi's table. While Trump diminishes us in Europe, he diminishes us with our allies. He diminishes these trade wars are crippling our economy. This could not have been you could not have engaged in a stupider move if you tried. You just couldn't have. And it wasn't necessary. And it's illegal. I had a kid. Do you believe Netanyahu expedited this because Trump is in office? It's hard to believe any other president would have supported this preemptive. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, he can manipulate Trump. Mr. Knudsen, this stupidity made open season for Americans. It did. It did. That will be the response. Terrorism. That is what America gets out of this. More terrorism. It's that simple. That's what we end up with. More terrorism. And it's going to end up hurting our economy. Because energy prices are going to keep escalating and keep escalating and keep escalating. Like I said, Iran doesn't even need to attack oil infrastructure to cripple, to just cause energy prices to skyrocket. All they have to do is turn off their own pumps for a few months to just fill their own tankers and send them nowhere. To fill their own, reserves and send them nowhere. Send it nowhere. Sell nothing. And oil prices skyrocket. Absolutely skyrocket. And if you're Saudi Arabia, this is the exact thing you've been complaining about. Trump went to Saudi Arabia and said, I want you to cut production. American oil companies are suffering because prices are so low. Saudi Arabia said, no, we're not here to fix your stupid shit anymore. That's not what OPEC does. We're not in the fix Trump's stupid problems business. You wrecked your economy. Deal with it. Deal with it. That was literally their response. Imagine today where Saudi Arabia is at. Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia. Imagine where he's at today. Jordan, last one I want to talk about, Jordan. Jordan has had for the last 20 years been very quiet. They've kind of been the Switzerland of the Middle East. They're trying not to piss off anybody. And they have been deepening their ties to the extreme with China. All this does is show the rest of the community there exactly how smart that was. Because Jordan is going to have zero disruption over this. None. Whereas Oman, Qatar, all of, Qatar, pardon me, people have a fit when I call it Qatar, Qatar, the rest of these countries are going to see disruptions. Kuwait has to sail right past Iran. Yeah, folks, this is just starting to unfold. This is the next day. We're going to keep track of all of these relationships, all of these situations. We'll put a pin in them. As things unfold, we will say, okay, look, we were a little bit too worried about that. This didn't destabilize, or, oh my God, this is worse than we thought, or, oh my God, this is exactly what we thought was going to happen. Rich Lawton, thanks for breaking this down and showing us the big picture. No, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. They are already blaming Biden for any upcoming terrorist attack in America because of the, quote, open border. He excuses, it won't fly. It won't fly. William Butler, it won't fly. You can try to blame this on Biden all you want. Not going to work. Nobody's buying it. And I don't know about you, and this is where I want to go into the roundtable on this, because I wanted to have a long roundtable on this. I want to know what you people are thinking. I want to know your observations. I mean, you've had keen observations the entire show. But yeah, this feels very different. Do y'all know who Mr. Global 2 is? He talks about oil and the oil industry all the time. I was really surprised by a video that he put out. Scott Kolb's stupid move by Trump attacking Iran. He can't see full picture. Iran has allies that have nukes also. Yeah, Pakistan for one. And if they did move their stockpiles and this turns out to be a worthless attack, he looks like a fool. He looks like a dumb fool. Again, weakening us in the world community. 16 says, yeah, I like to, I follow the guy. I don't agree with 100% of what he says, but I don't agree with anybody 100%. But he does have some very, very, very good takes. And yeah, he speaks very eloquently and intelligently. Oil is his field of expertise. If you're on Instagram, I like him better on Instagram than TikTok because he's actually putting more energy into Instagram lately. But yeah, follow him. He talks about this. But I was really shocked in an unrelated. Normally, he talks about the oil industry. He made a video on Israel. Israel has been trying to garner support here in the United States. And this is where I'm going with this. Support here in the United States for these attacks. George Allen, thank you. I appreciate you. I don't see it happening. I see just the opposite happening. I think what Kegseth, the drunk, and all of these people thought was this was going to be some rah-rah moment that was going to, win favor back over to them when people have been so pissed about the economy and everything else, the abuses of human rights and the immigration, the ugliness of their immigration policy and how it's hurting farmers and all of that. I really think that they thought this attack was going to make everybody, oh, yay, look at it. And the rockets, red glare, that hasn't happened. And I'll give you an example. When I was talking about, talking about Mr. Global too, he played a clip of a video from Israel talking about how, oh man, look at this. The evil Iran blew up a hospital. And Mr. Global two's response was, so? You've been doing that in Gaza for a year. Nobody has any sympathy for you. And I was kind of taken back. That, if you know Mr. Global 2, that is not his typical kind of content. Dan Hack, poor man here, but I appreciate you talking to you. I appreciate your support. Dan, I appreciate you just being here, my friend. The community is about getting the message out. Mr. Newton, Trump wanted to see how his military toy worked to show how, quote, tough he is. A distraction and just another idiotic, impulsive reaction will end badly. Yes. Summed it up perfectly, my friend. Let's go to the credits. Alan, Trump wants a real emergency so that he can institute his powers unfettered. That's a great one that we're gonna take into the roundtable portion. Yeah, I do. I like his content also. I really do. I like his content also. But yeah, this is not being received well. It's just not being received well. Are you seeing? That's the question I want to pose to you folks first. You know me, I support the left in Israel. There are like 52 Islamic nations. Israel is the only Jewish nation on the face of the planet. I have no problem with their existence. I don't. I support, a free and peaceful and strong Israel. I do. Just like I want a homeland for the Palestinian people. I want them to have their own nation. I want them to have autonomy. I want them to have the dignity of being their own self-determination. But Netanyahu, no, I don't. I think he's an evil bastard. And this entire thing, everything about this, people are dying because Netanyahu's in trouble. People are dying because Trump is underwater. And that just sickens me as a human being. It just sickens me as a human being. It just does. So yeah, my question to you folks going into the roundtable, are you getting that same feeling? I don't see people. My pleasure, man. Thanks for being here. Another new supporter of the show. That is fantastic. Mac Barusia, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here. I'm not seeing it. I don't see anybody that's happy about this. I'm seeing people that are normally hawks that are like, this is just dumb. Are you seeing something different? No, I don't. I don't think he's going to do that. I know he wants to, but no, everybody's very concerned about that. And let me address the emergency war powers thing. And I want to do it in the context of the elections. There's a lot of people that are screaming, oh, he's doing this because he wants to call off the midterm elections. He doesn't, and I've heard that refrain over and over and over again about they're not going to let us vote and this, that, and that. Folks, that's the click farms telling you that. And that's people that don't understand basic civics repeating that shit. It's very appealing. And I do understand the human sentiment behind it. The emotion. When you hear something like that, it's very scary. It is. I need you to think for a minute, though. The federal government doesn't implement elections. Trump couldn't call off the elections if he wanted to. They're run by the states. All of our elections are run by the states, not the federal government. Jordan, a little off subject. Look at ticket sales for the FIFA World Cup. Empty stadiums. FIFA has never been this empty because of Trump and the Republicans. Yeah. You wouldn't even know what's going on. Our corporate media sucks. It is tabloid trash. I had the kid as a person who lives in New York City, I'm nervous as hell. You should be, sir. You should be. Keep your head on a swivel and be safe. Stay safe. Because no, we won't end up in a tit for tat military confrontation with Iran. It will be terrorism. But yeah, you want to do anything about this? And this is another question I want to pose to you folks for the roundtable. Are you starting to get it that Democrats were the sane, normal force in our government and that this is what Republicans always were? I mean, have y'all heard about Trump's big beautiful bill, the kill bill? The latest, everybody was like, "Oh man, the the Republicans they're in the Senate aren't going to they're not radicals like the ones in the House. That House bill is going to be they're going to write a bill so much kinder in the Senate that everything's going to be fine, and they're going to have to vote on it again, and it won't pass. And but the in reconciliation, it won't the radicalism, the killing of Medicaid." Taking away medical care from children, from your grandma, getting your grandma kicked out of her old folks' home. None of that will survive. Oh, no. They went farther. The Republicans in the Senate went farther than the ones in the House. They've gone so far in the Senate bill that it's going to force, under their idiotic budget laws that they passed, it's going to force about half a trillion dollars in Medicare cuts, about $500 billion in Medicare, not Medicaid, Medicare cuts over the next 10 years. Oh yeah, they aren't just touching that third rail, they're tap dancing all over it. Amy Manuel, my son, an Army veteran, said he knew what was going to happen because they served lobster and steak on Friday. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, and that and Steve Bannon screamed, "The party's on," before the attacks ever happened. So yeah, folks, I mean, if have y'all figured out that it was the Democrats that used to keep us what we were? That this is what the Republicans are? And that we have to elect Democrats overwhelmingly? You know who has figured it out? The Republicans. The Republicans have figured this out. Yeah, exactly. If you think Timothy McVeigh pulled something off, that freaking idiot, Iranians have some seriously well-trained special forces. If this turns into a terroristic campaign from Iran, they can do some really, really bad things, folks. Captain PJ, some corporate media outlets, along with MAGA nuts, keep saying that we are not at war with Iran, but dropping bombs in someone's backyard to me still means we're at war. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't get to say that, folks. You can say all day long you're not at war, but you just attacked somebody. That's like walking up to somebody and punching them in the face and screaming you're not in a fight. Well, that's kind of up to the person you just punched in the face, isn't it? I'm telling you, folks, if you want anything at all done about this, if you want any breaks at all in our government, you have got to elect Democrats. ET, did you notice how the Mad King invoked God in order to cater to the Christo nationalists? Yeah, yeah. We love you, God. We love you. I'm not going to play his voice. I don't want to hear his voice. But that was the most idiotic clip I've ever seen. We love you, God. Even JD Vance was like, what? Mr. Newsom, Republicans are evil. Vote for someone with real sympathy for normal people, munitions, 5-week vacation, universal health care, and education. Yeah. Quit sucking hind tit, people. You deserve better. Ask for it. All right. Told you. You, Seymour, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing us the latest news. I can't look at the news during the show. Thank you for keeping us informed. She's saying that she just saw the Iranian parliament voted to cut off oil. Yeah, if that is 100% accurate, if you got that 100% right, Issa, that is huge. Oil prices are going to go through the roof. I told you that they don't even have to attack their neighbor's oil infrastructure to do this. They can simply turn their own off. Linda Orndorff, this is a typical Republican move. Every time they get underwater in the polls from wrecking the economy, etc., then they start a war. Yep, exactly. But to me, and again, I want to go back to this question because I'm not really seeing the answer to this about y'all's feelings. Does it seem like it's working? Are the stupids out there like, wah, wah, wah? I'm not seeing it. I don't think anybody's really happy with this. I think just like everything else, it was one thing when he was running for office to say all this stupid shit and all this, especially about immigration. And, all those people are like, you'll see. It's going to be great. You'll see. It's quite another thing to be in the talking about it phase with people actually seeing it happen. People actually watching it happen. Those are two very different things. People don't like it. They don't like what they're doing. They don't like suspending due process. They don't like the fact that, hey, you were supposed to deport them, not my people. There are farms here in the state of Texas that are ceasing operations because they can't get labor. Home building is shut down because they can't get labor. We were short 500,000 people in our construction industries before Trump did this. Can you imagine what the worker deficit is now? Dave Ingham, closing the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. I don't even know if they're going to do that because that'll piss off their neighbors. I'll be honest with you. Are they doing it? Have they acted to do it? Yep, they did. They sure as hell did. They sure as hell did. Wow. What did I tell you they were going to do, folks? What did I tell you? Here, let me pull it up for you. In real time, as I was telling you, this is what was going to happen. This is what happened. They're going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and there isn't really much we can do about it. I mean, it is one tiny little stretch of land here, and that is all Iran. I really wonder. It's a Sunday, so our markets aren't open. I am really wondering what the hell this is going to do to oil prices on Monday. Your gas price, go fill your car up. Stop doing this and go fill your car up. Stop coddling stupid. War, taco of the week, can't even keep 2,000 guards supplied. No shit. That was embarrassing what they did in LA. My former bros and sis in arms are effing screwed. And I know I didn't talk about it in the show today, but did you folks hear about this? One second. Did you guys hear about this? I talked about it on my social media. Some of y'all may have heard about it already. But the U.S. Army has sworn in tech executives as lieutenant colonels. Yeah, they really did that. They really did that. They swore in tech executives. No basic. They're not going through basic. Not going through officers training, officers candidate school, OCS, none of that. Just you're a lieutenant colonel. And you know why they made them lieutenant colonels? Because colonel and above requires congressional approval. So they made them lieutenant colonels, the highest rank they could possibly give them. These are people that worked at Palantir. These are people that work. It's insane. This is insane. Lonnie Johnson, right for the wrong reason. Humans, what good are they? Lonnie, I don't know exactly what you mean there, bud. You're going to have to elaborate. Jessica Bubbles, is this because we didn't attend his birthday party? Yeah, right. You know, his big birthday parade didn't pull off his big birthday parade, so now he's got to try this. And again, I'm asking you folks, I'm looking at your comments and I'm not seeing like a really clear answers. Do you think that this is selling? I don't know. Do you think it's selling? Canadian Paul? Not one American should be okay with this. The president is a fucking turnip. So they bound by UCMJ now? Yeah. Actually, yeah. Talking about the Code of Military Justice. Yeah, they should be. They're lieutenant colonels now. See, that's the thing. I kind of thought that too. Thanks for saying this, Jackie Paper Dragon. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for saying this. I kind of thought this too, but the fact that they're trying so desperately hard to sell this and they're still banging on it the next day about how great it was. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if do you really have to keep expending that capital if you're getting somewhere? I think everything that we saw in Gaza really has people turned off to any military conflict involving Israel or the region in general. Yeah, they are. They sure are. Yeah, I don't think they read the room. XY, yeah, they don't see how fed up people are. I don't think they read the room at all. I think that they thought this whole dust up in LA, what the numbers are back. It was a loser. It was a loser. The parade, a loser. They have had one loss after another, after another, after another. And I don't think they read the room on this one. They thought this would be like a galvanizing thing. Everybody would be like, oh, yeah, no, people are like, no, I don't see it happening. Our hands. I've been shouting it from the rooftops. Trump and MAGA equal a death cult. Yes, they do. Damon Dog, thoughts and prayers for all MAGA alphas that got bone spurs this morning. No shit, right? Cecilia says the cult is lapping it up. Appalachian Heartwood says no, even Marjorie Taylor Greene's against it. It's not selling. We just got it out of Afghanistan. I don't know. I haven't said what I don't, I didn't see what MTG said. I don't pay much attention to her anymore. She's kind of been pigeonholed by the Republicans. MAGA is split right down the middle. That is what kind of the feeling I'm getting too. All of their talking heads are selling their ass off. I pay attention to what happens in social media because you can really tell how much trouble they think they're in by how hard they're selling. I really kind of think that they're screwed, man. Michael Z, I work at a community college in a heavily populated area. Most of our office workers and students aren't showing up because of ICE presence. Breaks my heart. I bet. This whole immigration thing, again, it's one thing to talk shit. It's another thing to govern. It's another thing for people to actually see it happening. Andrew Ordonez, Senate parliamentarian, says GOP scheme to limit federal court preliminary injunctions by requiring plaintiffs challenging government actions to post large bonds can't be part of the reconciliation bill, a victory for Democrats. Yeah, they've been trying to stick to, and I tell you something else, folks, that you need to watch. They figured out they're losing, and they are trying to radically redistrict Ohio and Texas. They are. They are drawing some overtly illegal maps right now that we're going to have to challenge in court. You know, people are like, where are the Democrats? What are the Democrats do? This is where they're at. They're doing their fucking jobs, people. Mr. Newton, how long until MAGA falls in line for war? Yeah. I saw a post about that yesterday that was like, MAGA's just figuring out that they aren't anti-war, they're pro-war. Angela Phillips says, Hal showed us some MAGA influencers last night. They are pissed. They are on the train this morning. They're on the train this morning. They are. They fell in line. There were some, when it first happened, there were some disparate, people went in different directions. Yeah, everybody's in lockstep today. Woo, war is good. Science says ice reminds me of Planet of the Apes. If you've watched the old Planet of the Apes movie where the way they round people up and throw them in cages is what she's talking about there, or he's talking about there. All right, folks. Well, look, my final pitch here. There's only one way to do anything about this, and that's to go out and that is to elect Democrats to a supermajority. The Republicans are in full freakout mode. They are redistricting. They are redistricting right now. Christopher, thanks for supporting the show, man. Can't do it. Marco Polo's humanity. Sorry, there's no constitutional way to impeach Trump. There isn't. Republicans will not do it. They will not vote for it. We took power from Democrats. You want that to happen? Get your ass out and elect Democrats. That is my final pitch to you folks. It is. Folks, there's only one way to go. If you haven't figured it out, I mean, take a look at what the government used to be when the Democrats ran things and what it is now. I mean, we could actually look at complex problems and solve them without like hurting everybody, you know, having some right-wing fantasy jerk-off meeting. Intersection with Amy Manuel says, how much more gerrymandered can we get? My congressional district has 38 counties and stretches over 400 miles. These maps that they're drawing, folks, I'm telling you, that's what the Democrats are doing right now. They are already fighting this. They are. Every iteration that they're coming out with that is just more and more radically gerrymandered. This is their plan. They're going to have us suing them and that confusion going into the elections. They know we're going to have elections, folks. These people that are out there telling you, we'll never get to vote. We'll never get to vote. No, bullshit. If they didn't think we were going to get to vote, would they be doing this? Would they be redistricting? Of course they know we're going to vote. Philip Alipore, thank you for being here, my man. Yet Iranians have a chance to overthrow the Ayatollahs, but they don't. Not anymore, my friend. At least I'm telling you, I that all went south. Imagine it if they had attacked us. Would anybody be talking about, impeaching Trump or anything like that if we were under attack? We set that movement back. And I'm with you. That movement existed. They had a real, I mean, the ground, they were walking up to mullahs and ripping their head, I mean, the turbans off their head. That's the traditional headdress that you see the clerics wearing. They were walking up and ripping those off their heads in the streets, man. That's over. That ended yesterday. For a long time, we've set that movement back probably 2 years minimum. That's one of the things that's so frustrating about this. So frustrating about this. Well, folks, I love you. I hope this information was useful. Again, this is just the next day. As more and more information comes out, I will keep monitoring actual foreign press because ours is useless, to see what people are saying, what people are from other countries are actually putting out. Like right now, India is just laughing at Pakistan in any microphone that's put in their face. They're just dunking on them. I'll keep monitoring that stuff, and we will get back together again. I will see you Wednesday. Until then, enjoy some Texas cities at night.